Hi, I'm Beth Perry. It's Friday, July 4th, 2008. In this week's Beaker Beat, there's a new drug-coated stent in circulation. Some of the industry's movers and shakers are moving. And when patients were mysteriously dying in a Maryland hospital, the feds came in and found the killer wasn't human. Those are some of the top stories in this week's Beaker Beat. Abbott Labs is hoping 3 wasn't the charm for drug-coated stents. Abbott is the 4th and newest player in the game after their stent got FDA approval on Wednesday. The Associated Press is reporting the approval adds another drug-coated stent to what developers hope is a recovering market following several years of bad publicity. Abbott and its rivals have seen sales of drug-coated stents decline over the past few years after research questioned their safety and effectiveness compared with older bare metal versions. Abbott's drug-coated stent is already being used in Europe. With all the drugs aiming for approval every year, we all realize that there are going to be some failures. But when the latest Alzheimer drug failed a phase 3 clinical trial, it didn't just miss the bullseye. Some are wondering if the industry is aiming at the wrong target altogether. The widely held theory as to what causes Alzheimer's is that there's a buildup of a sticky substance in the brain that happens as we get older. It's amyloid plaque. Myriad's fluorescein worked by blocking enzymes that cause that plaque. According to Shirley Wang at the Wall Street Journal, in the 18-month, 1,684 patient study, the largest Alzheimer's treatment study to date, fluorescein failed to improve cognitive functioning or activities of daily living. Further, its failure prolongs uncertainty about the wisdom of targeting amyloid to treat or perhaps prevent Alzheimer's. There are 2 companies continuing trials for Alzheimer's treatments. One of them is Eli Lilly, and Elon and Wyeth are mid-stage and have released positive results. Of course, only time will tell if these other drugs are hitting the right target. Lots of news out of Johnson & Johnson this week. They're apparently looking to wrap up their primary wound care business. Reports are out that J&J's Ethicon is in exclusive talks with a private equity firm for an undisclosed amount. The deadline for negotiations is August 22nd. And coming soon to a pharmacy near you, J&J is facing immediate generic competition from Teva Pharmaceuticals after receiving FDA approval for its generic version of schizophrenia treatment, Risperdal. Teva's tablets began shipping earlier this week, which is a blow to J&J's revenue for their drug. And also making headlines, J&J is trying to erase some of theirs. The 120-year-old company is looking to plump up its bottom line by bringing on the youthful collagen facial filler Evolence. It's the first time a big pharmaceutical company is injecting itself into the dermal filler market. J&J says it's made from naturally sourced collagen, while its competition Restylane and Juvederm are made with lab-grown ingredients. From the acquisitions file, QIAGEN took on the entire outstanding stock of Corbett Life Sciences this week. The Australian-based company expects to add revenues of $14 million this year and approximately $40 million in 2009. Corbett's father and son founders will take on advisory roles at QIAGEN. Some of the industry's biggest movers and shakers are moving. The new CEO for MTM in Germany should grab his passport. Bob Silverman has been the chief commercial officer and president of the MTM's U.S. branch since 2005. Put another feather in the cap of Wyeth's chairman and CEO. Bernard Pousseau can add chairman of the board to his job title. And as part of a promise that changes were on the horizon, Medtronic announced CEO William A. Hawkins will take over as chairman of the board, while Arthur D. Collins Jr. rides off into the retirement sunset. I think every holiday weekend you should curl up with a good book, so I'm going to leave you this week with a murder mystery of sorts. When people started dying mysteriously at a hospital in Baltimore, the federal government stepped in to do the investigation. And what they found was that the killer wasn't a disgruntled employee or a family member. The killer was the medical equipment dispensing the meds. There's a great article from the Baltimore Sun this week. We have the link for you so you can check it out. And it tells the story of how software experts work to find the flaw in the equipment's software. Author John Rockoff writes, "Finding a killer buried in a medical device's source code is not straightforward detective work. The directions for an implantable defibrillator might run over 100,000 lines, as long as War and Peace, and cover a multitude of possible actions that could take a decade for the device to run through. It's a really entertaining article, and it's informative at the same time. That's going to do it for this week. Have a very happy 4th of July weekend. I'm Beth Perry with Beaker Beat.